Hey, there we go. Hopefully that is good to go. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're from. This is Dukes on Twitch, back with Goblins for a second time running. Pretty awesome deck, pretty fun to play with. So really had to have another crack with it. Didn't do too well last time, went 2-3. Was good to get the 2 wins, but of course, finishing as a positive, with a positive score would be nicer. The only changes I've made this time round are actually taking out the sideboard Chain Whirler, moving the Sting Scourger to the sideboard for things like Reanimator, Batterskull tokens, any sort of creature-based decks, and then bringing in the Sharpshooter to the main deck, which I actually thought was missing last time. I went without it, but really actually wanted it a lot of times, so pretty happy to get it back. The rest of the deck is pretty stock standard. The third Crater Maker is probably the other sideboard slot. I mean, if anything, the third Crater Maker could go to the sideboard and the Sting Scourger could come back into the main deck, which is something I can definitely see. I'm still not sure what's really optimal in regards to the sideboard slots, but and the flex slots within the main deck. Apologies. But yeah, super fun deck. Super control-y as well for a creature-based deck, which is pretty good. Just seeing Angus there from CBI MTG helping me out with that 200, but all good. So yeah, not too much else to say about the deck. It's been a blast to play. It's been pretty competitive. The Goblin War Chief has definitely changed the way I think about how Goblins is played, especially when thinking about what to matron for, with the haste effect, of course. Just really turning on your Goblins a lot more, especially Pile Driver. Like if you have a War Chief out and a few other Goblins and you have Pile Driver as an option to get with Goblin Matron, you're pretty set on an aggressive point of view. So let's just go straight into a league. One other thing I'll mention is that last game we didn't really use the Mindbreak traps. They're really for fast combo like Storm, but they're just nice to have just in case we do play against them, because we don't have much else. No sort of hand disruption, but it's good to see that the sideboard's pretty flat in the way that this column really deals with spells in the stack, this column deals with the graveyard, and this column deals with the battlefield. So pretty easy when it comes to sideboarding, but it's really a case of what do we take out, what do we cut down on, and where do we want our consistency in 4-ofs. But that will come as we play the deck. So yeah, let's get straight into it. A Legacy League with, of course, Goblins. Pretty cool deck. If you played it in chat, please let me know. It was very cool last time, getting a bit of help from chat in regards to what to matron for, what turn 2 or turn 3 plays we have as options, which are the best. So if you're watching this video, definitely don't be a stranger, and give me some of your guidance through the technology of digital chat. But let's get straight into it. So second league with Goblins. Felt really good. There's definitely some plays that I probably could have played a little bit tighter, or maybe matron for the wrong threat, or utility Goblin. Rainbow39, very cool to have you in chat, even though you are away, I believe. So thank you for your consistency of always chiming in. Might move this across. But yeah, Goblins. There's a few players locally who play it in our legacy scene. It's definitely been a deck that's made its way around to a few different players, which is always good to see how they play it, because it's definitely a deck that you can really put your own way of playing into it. But yes, Merry Christmas to you, Rainbow39, and to all watching. Had a good Christmas myself out west, so nice to get out of the heat and come back to this air-conditioned room where I can stream from in comfort. But Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty hot up north, pretty muggy, and a lot of mozzies, I assume. Chris, when are you actually back from far north Queensland? Because you're from Cairns originally, I believe. I'm gonna have a drink of water while we wait. Merry Chris, Salty McTaylor. Very cool to see you. Hopefully see you soon around at Legacy in Brisbane. Coming up to 2019, there's a clean slate of the Tuesday undefeated decks. Tezzeret 01. Interesting. So Tezzeret 01 probably gives away that they are a Tezzerator deck, so probably something like a turn 1 Chalice deck. But if they are, I actually really like this hand. It's a 2-year lander. We do have a Crater Maker, which of course can answer a Chalice for 1 pretty well, although a hand without Vial or Lackey is a little bit on the worse side. However, counterpoint, if we're playing against a Chalice deck, perhaps those would have been dead draws anyway. So we're going to keep this. A land off the top makes it a really nice hand. Of course, without the Vial, it's not the greatest. A Volcanic Island doesn't tell us much. The War Chief off the top isn't the greatest as well, so we'll just play this Mountain and pass. Probably not putting us on Goblins just yet. I wouldn't put them on, say, Blue-Red Delver yet. It is just a Volcanic Island. Underground Sea. Okay, so we're looking at a pretty greedy deck. Bitter Blossom. Bitter Blossom's going to be pretty tough to fight through. Chain Whirler seems really good. A few other cards seem really good as well. I'm pretty happy here to name Goblin and set out this Pile Driver. I have, of course, now given away what we are playing, but that was going to be pretty inevitable. Chuckasiki, Merry Christmas, and thank you very much for the follow. So 5 follows away from the big giveaway of the Judge Foil bribery, and actually 5 away as well from hopefully becoming a card hoarder player, which would be very cool to get some coinage towards the cards that I can actually buy and play. This Wasteland's a great hit on this Cavernous Souls, which is pretty annoying. This does look like a Grixis Delver list with main deck Bitter Blossom. So another land off the top would be great, and we do get it, which is awesome. But they actually missed a land drop. So here I think I'm pretty happy just to probably play the Port and then pass. There's nothing too much else that I want to achieve. I can definitely attack with this Pile Driver. So I'm pretty happy here to play the Port. Go to combat, attack in with the Pile Driver. They can only block, of course, with the Fairy Rogue if they really want to. It is only 1 damage. And then we'll just pass. I think I'll also tap down the black in their upkeep. I would hate to see another Bitter Blossom or something like Himda Turak. So we'll try to keep him off double black for now for a while. Of course, later down the line, Liliana Last Hope seems pretty good against Goblins. But pretty happy right now. Having this Gem Palm Incinerate as well as a small answer to the Delver of Secrets is nice. If it does flip. Which doesn't look like it is. Getting it for 2, interesting. So not leaving behind a Fairy Rogue to double block this Pile Driver next turn. Another Gem Palm. Probably this turn I'm just going to throw down this War Chief and bash in. So we'll see how this comes down. Pretty open to Daze, pretty open to Force of Will as well. Although the old 2-for-1 isn't too bad. Especially as the clock's pretty similar right now. There's the Daze. We will not pay for Daze. We will, of course, attack. A land off the top next turn would be pretty good, allowing us to play the Crater Maker and then also Gem Palm the Delver of Secrets. But we might even be getting to the point where we just want to start getting a Sharpshooter online, because they are going to go wide very fast with this Young Pyromancer and Bitter Blossom in play. Aether Vial off the top, not that great. So here I actually like... It really depends how much I want to play around Daze and Force. Which right now doesn't look that great. I can get rid of this Young Pyromancer right now, which doesn't seem too bad. I get to play the Vial, which might be a little bit too late, and then also incinerate this Young Pyromancer while they're tapped out. I might incinerate first just so they can't say Daze or Force of Will this Vial just to get the 1/1. I could Matron for Sharpshooter. That does seem a little bit slow. And dealing with the Pyromancer now is quite nice, so we might do that straight away. We get to draw off it as well, which is nice. So we can see what we draw off that. Hopefully a land. It is a land. Which is nice, because now we can just Gem Palm this Delver as well. Which might be a little bit aggressive, but I think that we're a little bit too slow on this Sharpshooter Chainwhirler plan. So making them just have 1/1s is pretty nice. I really wish that Stink Scourger was creatures with the same name returned, but of course it isn't. It can't be that good. It's already pretty insane. There's the third land. So this is True Name. True Name's pretty good. We don't really have an answer to True Name. And they're going to be attacking in for 3 here, so going down to 12, that's a 2-turn clock, which is pretty good. Wasteland off the top doesn't do too much. This Goblin Pile Driver does have Pro Blue, which is nice. But I think here we might have to Matron for Chainwhirler pretty fast, because Chainwhirler is in the main deck, luckily. So what we might do is... keep up a red. We could also Wasteland them off the red source so they can't bolt us. Bolt doesn't really change the clock, but it can if we Chain Whirl. So I think it's safe to say here we want to keep up a red. Go and get Chain Whirler. We could play a Crater Maker or take them off red. Could also play a Vial, which is definitely too late with this board. So we'll attack first. Does have Pro Blue, so we don't have to worry about the True Name, thankfully. And I think, yeah, taking them off red is a pretty good idea right now. Just because Bolt is a little bit scary with True Name. It would make it pretty much a turn 2 clock anyway. Brainstorm's interesting. Brainstorm kind of means that maybe they drew some pretty bad cards and now got access to a fetch lane, which of course they're fetching now. Another Brainstorm, interesting. straight away as well. So looking for something, perhaps something like a Delver, although that does run into Chain Whirler pretty well. I think they might be looking for counter magic. Something like a Forcer Will, because we can play around days, or maybe double days. This is going to be tough either way. Ringlead is not what we want, so we might as well try to get this Chain Whirler down and see what happens. Does hit, which is nice. We'll attack with little creatures and just hope they don't have Bolt. So they either have it or they don't. Could also have Kolaghan's Command. I'm not too sure how much it is, and they do have it. So this is sadly going to be game. So Grixis Delver, interesting matchup. I don't mind the blue blasts. I think Siege Gang might just be a little bit too slow. The Trashmaster as well can probably come out, which makes the curve a little bit lighter, which is nice against the Wasteland deck. Pyrokinesis is okay, but I think we just have better cards in Chain Whirler and of course Sharpshooter. Maybe the Crater Makers can probably come down as well, just to 2. There's not really any colorless threats that we care about, like artifacts. So yeah, pretty happy with this, really. Let's just have another look. We could maybe want one Trashmaster just to pump our team. So maybe because we're going towards... No, that's pretty good. I can probably go down to the 2 Elemental Blasts. No, let's keep it 3. We don't have much action in regards to trying to find these. And of course, if we ringleader them away, it's a little bit annoying, so it's nice to have all 3 there. I can probably drop down one more Crater Maker and just go ahead with this. So pretty happy with this. Don't really need Graveyard Hate for them. Stink Scorcher doesn't do a whole lot against tokens and True Name. So this is pretty good. We'll go ahead with this 60 and hopefully have a better shot this turn. This hand's sweet. We're going to keep this. This is a deck that, although you do have the turn 1 Vial, I think Lackey's just so much better. Especially if they have to trade it for something like a Goblin a Delver of Secrets, where we're pretty happy. Goblin, Lackey, and pass turn. Bolt straight away, interesting. So now we get to play the Port, play the Vial around days, which is nice, and then play another Lackey, just to really keep the pressure on early. There's a Force, interesting. I guess once they see the Cavernous Souls, they know they can't really force anything else, but still pretty happy that they 2-for-1 themselves for that. If we draw a land, I'm very happy to hopefully put this Matron in and find probably a ringleader, just so this War Chief can make it a little bit more cost efficient if we do lose this Lucky before we get to put it in for free. Pondering most likely for either a blocker like this or a removal spell for the Lackey, but pretty happy with this. We can go to combat, definitely. We can trade with this Delver. This one's a little bit more tricky. Something like a True Name next turn would be pretty backbreaking and could be why they were so persistent with forcing the Vial, just because they know they have maybe a land and True Name in hand, or are waiting for that third land. I still think Lackey's just the best play here. Using Port now isn't that great. If I drew a land and played Lackey and Port, that's pretty awesome. I'd probably nearly even do that over Goblin, Piledriver, and Lackey. Brainstorm's great because it means there's no true name coming down this turn. And they have actually tapped down their Volcanic, so it means that they'll need another red source if they do find a Bolt as the answer to this Lackey. Which definitely gives me a bit of a grasp about their hand, showing that they don't have another Bolt in hand. Wasteland on Cavern kind of makes me feel like they might have a Gomag Angler, because then they have a really good blocker for this Lackey. And it is... okay. That's pretty tough. We didn't bring in Sting Scourger. But I'm happy here just to pass, of course. No red mana available, and just to use this Port. I don't really want to get rid of this Wasteland as of yet. And we'll keep them off red. It means if they draw into Lightning Bolt, they can't attack and then also have defense in Bolt for Lackey. They have to keep the Gomag back if they don't want us to actually get through with this Lackey. I've definitely seen both, and I've definitely played around both. We could just double Wasteland here, but I don't think that's great. I do like taking out the red source here. Forkbolt would be pretty insane. I think if Death and Taxes was a little bit better online, we might see a bit more of it. So they chose not to shuffle, and then shuffled at the end step, which is pretty interesting. And what this does is actually give us an opening to... so they didn't shuffle with Ponder, but then they shuffled with the fetch land, which is really interesting because that opens up the Volcanic to be hit by Rishon and Port, and more importantly their red source in their upkeep. But I guess if Diabolic Edict is their out, then they're more than happy to. Yeah, Marsh Casualties is a pretty stellar card, both early and late game. So here I'm happy to play the Vial, and then most likely try to take them off another color. I'm probably more scared of Bitter Blossom than I am removal like Bolt. So I'm going to go after the black here. And then just pass. I could have also kept it around if I wanted to actually Matron next turn. Nurse Toki, very cool to see you. Is this Abby from San Fran? The Bay Area? So we're going to untap, we're going to put this Vial trigger on the stack, of course. We really need a red source pretty fast. Or at least some sort of blocker, which the Mog War Marshal is, thankfully. And to be fair, keeping the Wasteland around could have been a great way to use this Rishon Port as well. So maybe that Wasteland was a little bit too aggressive on my behalf. Yeah, of course. Very cool to see Zach do so well at the Channel Fireball 2K. And I heard you actually did pretty well as well. I think you maybe didn't do so well at the start, but then came back pretty hard. And I see you also on Death and Taxes still, which is very cool. Alright. Cavern's nice. So I feel like Cavern's probably more so on Rishon and Port duty right now to keep off a true name. And this War Marshal can of course come in and block this Gomag Angler pretty well. So we'll tap down the Volk. True name right now is best placed. Best case for them. Adding a red, so this could just be Bolt to the face. It is not. 24th is really good, especially if you're gonna prize it. So here's the attack. Gonna put in a defensive play with this Mog War Marshal. The token will then, of course, come in, and then we can block with the Mogul Marshal to get another token back, which is pretty good. So we'll go to block. And hope that Fork Bolt is not in this deck. There's Wasteland. We will go up to 3. Another Matron isn't great. We can definitely attack with 1 here. We can block with this Goblin. It's not looking great here. And we're really going to have to start drawing some lands and maybe taking up this Vial up to 4 to get some Matron action going. We could also put in the War Chief here, but I like kind of thinning the deck a little bit. Yeah, Goblins can be a pretty tough matchup against D&T because they go wide so well. And especially with the Trashmaster in the deck, just insane. So let's see what we got to actually get rid of this. We don't have much. We could, of course, Gem Palm, or at least try to Gem Palm out this Gurmag, which would be pretty tough. I kind of like the Ringleader just to get cards in hand. Trashmaster's also not really great because we don't have many cards to block with. So maybe Chainwhirler is actually the best. I might get Chainwhirler here because it technically deals 4 to the Gurmag, and I can triple block and try to hit something. So we'll keep this Vial at 3. We will not use the Vial. Another Matron. Pretty rough. No great attacks, so we're just going to block again. This time, probably all 3. I mean, if they have removal, they got removal. And most likely putting it on the Chainwhirler. But happy to try to put... all these guys in front. I guess if they have removal, I could just put 1/1/1 in front. And then if they have removal, it stops 1 from dying. But I kind of like just keeping them all on board and seeing how this goes. So I have a Bolt, and it works out pretty bad for me. Which is fine for now. It's 1 less Bolt to the face, so that's not too bad. Yeah, Cataclysm seems like a pretty awesome card against Goblins. That is for sure. Wasteland, come on. So Wasteland doesn't really help much. I think this is a Bolt as a port is just better right now. Perhaps it's just a ringleader, and then see what happens here. So at least if I draw a land, I can try to put in War Chief and then cast ringleader as well. A black could just mean another Gomag. Young Pyro is pretty bad as well. Ha. We will not tick up Vial. We'll draw a Gem Palm Incinerator, which doesn't do much, especially with no red mana. This is not looking great. We don't really have many options either. Can try to keep them off black in their upkeep, which is a good start. Also keeping them off 3 lands for True Name, which is still something. I think we just want to get Matron out. Probably another Matron. In multiple range, which is pretty rough. And we're also getting in range of just being dead to a Young Pyromancer going wide. Just not getting there. Really want a mountain. But we technically still have a turn, so we can see how this goes. I think we have to just get another 3-drop in Gem Palm Incinerator. But this Gomag's just done so much work. And that's going to be game. Sadly, we don't have an out to that. So down to Grixis Delver, which was pretty rough. We do run, I think, 10 mountains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So those Wastelands definitely did a lot of work. And then True Name and Gomag just being kind of the big defilers of Goblins. So far. But a 4-1 is still achievable, so we'll see how this deck goes. Could have definitely brought in the Sting Scourger, but I didn't really think about Gomag as that big of a threat. But I can definitely see now why it might be an issue for the deck, especially going up against larger creatures that are just not able to be dealt with just, say, Gem Palm Incinerator on their own. Alright. On the play again. Little rough. This hand's not that bad. So it is a 6-lander, but we do have 2 utility lands, which is nice. We can definitely cast all our spells. But I think I'd really want this War Chief to be something like Matron or Ringleader. Because we can at least turn 1, turn 2. It really depends what we're up against. I don't mind it though. And I think that there is a world where I'd keep this hand. And I think I actually... It's just one Cavern of Souls too much. So I'm gonna mulligan this. And this is, I've got to keep this. I'll put this on top. And just hope that this is a deck that I can play Lucky against quite well. Just don't be Dredge. Flooded Strand. Nice. I can deal with a Flooded Strand. So let's get out a Lackey and see what happens. Lackey on the stack. Lackey on the stack is a great place for the Goblin Lackey to be. A better place is at the end of combat step. Having a good think about this Lackey. It's going to stick. This could be a Swords to Plowshares deck, so they might not really care about it. Flooded Strand doesn't give too much away. I think I'm hoping miracles, but you never know. If this is just an end step Swords, surely there wasn't that much time needed to actually warrant that. Easy. The issue with them being on the play is now they have the out to... Ah, Stoneforge, interesting. Stoneforge is a pretty good blocker for Lackey. Let's be honest. Jide is pretty good too. Now the Mountain's okay. Not great. We do get the Lucky down, so drawing into something like a Gem Palm Incinerator wouldn't be the worst. I can definitely see how Aether Vial hands are so much different to hands with just Goblin Lackey. I think I would have War Chief here. I can also Matron for Trashmaster. I think Matron might be a little bit better. Especially if they have Batterskull in hand, this could get out of hand pretty fast. So, Cavernous Souls would be a great draw. No good attacks, which is a little bit annoying. Not too bad. Here comes probably the Jitte. Jacob, very cool to see you. Late Merry Christmas. Back with Gobbies, of course. And not looking too bad. A fetch on the Strand here is interesting if they're not swordsing. I really hope that it swords my guy before attacking. Surely the right play if you have a swords is keep open the Tundra, use the islands to equip the Jitte to Stoneforge, attack in, see if I double block, and then just swords one if you really don't want to trade the Stoneforge Mystic for both. Interesting. I think I have to take the double block or else my guys just die anyway. So at least I can force them to try to use something like a Swords to Plowshares on one of the guys. And they don't. Okay. Brainstorm, interesting. Especially after you've already played your land for turn. Russian Import's not the worst. I like trying to slam down this Trash Master. It is open to counter magic, of course, and they can kill this Matron in response if they want to. So they're gonna let it resolve. So happy to keep this around for now and see what happens. So what's their play now? They could play a land and tap out for Jace. They could also play a Batterskull, which isn't great. If I play another creature, I get to destroy both. The Jitte's only got one counter on it, so it can't really... Teferi, interesting. Teferi's pretty annoying. Crater Maker's pretty good. Let's play War Chief. Let's play Crater Maker. Let's hope they don't brainstorm. Oh. That's fine. That's fine. We won't use it anyway. Gonna all attack Teferi. They might have a Snapcaster, but that doesn't do much. Looks like they have nothing. Okay. Terminus could be pretty bad. This Crater Maker can at least hit the Jitte as well as the Trash Master. With the Stoneforge package, I don't believe they'll be playing Terminus anyway. If anything, maybe one Supreme Verdict. Which, okay. So let's... I guess it really doesn't matter. They're all going to the graveyard anyway. So Matron's not a bad draw. Matron Ringleader definitely seems the best right now. And then we can just pass and probably tap down the Tundra in their upkeep. Five cards in hand for them. 2 in hand for me. But a Ringleader on the way, hopefully. I'd love a Cavern Souls off top. Ponder's great. Ponder means that there's no Jace. Unless they tap out for it. Which if they tap out for it, they're definitely ticking up if they don't want to lose it. Because I assume if they're playing Jace, they might actually know about Ringleader, of course. So they might have counter magic in hand through Force of Will. So like 4 cards being Jace, blue card, Force of Will, something. Jacob, thank you very much. All the best with your shepherd's pie. That sounds amazing. Gem Palm. Alright. We might as well try out Ringleader. How many cards do we get? We get 2 cards. Okay. Snapcaster Swords, of course, deals with this board pretty well. But there's no point not attacking. I assume the trade here happens because they don't have Jitte anymore. Oh, but well, they're going to keep it around. That's interesting. Perhaps with another piece of equipment, like sort of Fire and Ice? That'd be pretty rough. Jace, okay. Yes, Callum, great song. So Jace is fine. We do have the Cray to make the Chain Whirler, which is nice to get rid of the Snapcaster. 1 damage to Jace, I believe, as well. And then Matron in to hit. Pile Driver, interesting. So we could go War Chief into Pile Driver. We also could have left one up. So happy here is to attack both with Jace. So Jace slowly going down. Only 1 card in hand, so we definitely have that going strong. This Matron can get another Ringleader and hopefully get up to another 4 cards, which is pretty insane. Batterskull's pretty good. There's a Ringleader. I think Ringleader is the best option here. Found Kratomik, which is nice. Should have left a red up, really, in case we hit something like Lackey. But happy here just to pass turn and see what happens. Fails to find, so no sword. Maybe in the sideboard, but that's quite interesting. Can get this Crater Maker out and see if they have a counter spell. They're gonna fetch, so maybe they have just hardcast Force of Will, which is really rough. I think that's probably a concession on it for our sakes after this. Can try to flood the board, but there's not much else we can do. Yeah, with the Batterskull, I think life totals right now don't really matter. I think it's more a case of trying to deal with this Batterskull without them having the mana to return it to the hand. Still 3 cards in hand. We will not pay the echo cost. Another incinerator. Disgusting. They have so much mana they can actually just respond to each incinerator. Get the last Crater Maker, and then just pass. So really with mana floating, we could have just kept up the Rishon and Port and ported them, even just off a fetch lane, which right now is pretty critical when they're brainstorming each turn and just sculpting the hand so well. Wasteline's not the worst. Play this Crater Maker. Counterspell. Yeah, especially with the Stoneforge Mystic, it just makes things so weird. So let's just concede this. Really don't have the tools to effectively deal with that Batterskull right now. So Trashmaster seems really good. The Red Elemental Blast seems really good. Sting Scourge is okay. I think it's probably a little bit better than Sharpshooter as a target against this sort of deck. I like taking out the Siege Gang, although it's really good for the second Trashmaster, just so our deck curve is a lot smaller. The Incinerators can probably go down to 3. I'm only really scared of Stoneforge Mystic. We do have the Sting Scourge if we really want to return it. Snapcast is annoying, but it's not the greatest threat against us. Ringleader is insane. We could maybe just have too many answers to artifacts already in the 3 Creator Makers and the 2 Trash Masters. Hey, by the way, after this match, I will definitely do a giveaway for some boosters. And then getting ever so closely to our 200 target to give away that Judge Foil Briber, which has been sitting on my desk for a very long time. So hopefully get to give this away at some point in the near future, if not tonight. The luckiest of all nights. But just quickly while we're on this, Scourge Prospector can probably go away as well. And then can probably come down on... I'm going to say a War Chief. There we go. Not too much thought into that one, but we'll see how we go this hand. This is fine. This is actually a really good hand. Turn 1 Vial, turn 2 Port, Wasteland as well, Mog War Marshal as well. Just to start putting on some pressure as well. So let's give this a go. There he is with the Dukes on face. Dukes on Twitch face. Very nice. Love it. Really love it. I thought as well, but luckily back at it. Hopefully good games tomorrow for some Legacy. But we'll see how that pans out. Ponder turn 1, not too bad. A lot better than something like Pithing Needle. That would be a little bit annoying. But not the end of times because of our main deck hate against artifacts, which is great. So we will, of course, tick this up to 1. Incinerator's okay. It's a nice answer to Stoneforge Mystic later down the game, especially with Mog War Marshal. I can't say it for the life of me. They interact really well, especially putting 2 bodies for 1 card onto the table for Gem Palm to see and use as its gunpowder. Goblin powder, I guess you would call it. Ha 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 ha. He makes jokes too. Put a Delta. Tundra. Interesting to go for the dual land for another Ponder. So very happy here just to wasteland them and get this mana denial strategy going pretty quickly. We do of course also have 4 minutes on them, so if time's an issue, it's not us. Going up to 3. Another Vial, not really what we want to see, but happy here to take out this Tundra now. Especially if we're trying to play around something like Containment Priest. Another island's pretty good for us because it means that they don't have a white source right now, or at least holding it back. We will not pay the echo cost. Really want to keep this this hand progressing. Might play this mountain and keep this cavern in hand, play the Vial and just attack for 1 and pass. A slow clock, but a clock nevertheless. I think I'll keep this Vial at 3 until I actually draw a Ringleader or Trashmaster. Just because Matron's so good and so is Chieftain as well. Don't really want to put in anything here. I could put in the Gem Palm if I really wanted to. But I think not. It looks like they might just be trying to get up to Supreme Verdict level. ENR31, thank you very much for the host. Okay, so we will trigger this one. Very cool. So it's going to be a yes and a no. Another land really isn't what we want, but we'll take it. So let's just keep doing what we're doing. Hey, the sneaky Cabal. Yes. Thank you very much. That means a lot. I think in response to this brainstorm, I'm actually going to do nothing. I could tap down the fetch land, but I think they will actually do it in their upkeep anyway, so there's no real point doing that there. Thank you very much for the sub, Sneaky Cabal. Please tell me a bit about yourself, where you're from, what deck you play, perhaps in Legacy, if Legacy is your sort of Magic. Alright. No float, interesting. So we'll tap these both down now. There's no real point not to. Here's one fetch. The good thing is if they're double fetching for Stoneforge Mystic, we do have the Sting Scourge to deal with Batterskull and the Gem Palm to deal with the Stoneforge. That is fine. A sneaky follow as well, thank you very much. Hitting those goals, hitting those goals. Very close. That is going to be fine. They searched up Jitte, which is interesting. Ah, very cool. That's awesome. A colleague, of course. A commander player as well, I believe. We will not use this 8th availability because we're going to draw Trashmaster, which is pretty awesome as well. So we could even just beat face now if we wanted to. We could hold up Sting Scourger to see if they keep around the Stoneforge Mystic. We also have the Gem Palm Incinerator as well. It does not do so good against us. I think we have to get rid of this Stoneforge right now, just so we can get some damage through. We also draw a card, which isn't... That's pretty good. Okay. So let's just attack with both creatures. Yeah, you definitely Gem Palm. We can play the Cavern, we can name Goblin. And I'm happy just passing here and tapping down the Tundra. Interesting to see what they have. Land Supreme Verdict's pretty good. Could just be another Stoneforge. Brainstorm first. I think a Wasteland off the top would be pretty nice. Just to really start using these vials just for creatures and the mana base for getting rid of some creatures. Better Skull, interesting. So I think here this one goes to 4 and this one stays at 2. So this one no, and this one yes. Lackey's pretty good. We're going to go to attacks first. We'll see how they block and if they block, and if we can put in Trashmaster. No block. Does it make a big difference if we... I think we put in Trashmaster anyway just to get that extra 2 points of damage in. It's just that good. We can still play Lackey here as well, which is pretty nice. And then hold up 2 ports. So... Port 1. They floated a mana, so we'll see what they do with it before we use this other port. They might actually sink another mana into Stoneforge's ability, which they don't. So let's tap down this white as well. And that will be fine. What I could also do here is actually Sting Scourger away the Stoneforge Mystic. And then they have to either put something in. I don't think it's worth Sting Scourgering here the Stoneforge Mystic. Interesting plays. It could hit the Germ token, but so could the Goblin Crater Maker. Thank you, Boyd. They do have 6 cards in hand. One is Jide, one is Batterskull. So do they have the second... Because if they don't have the second white source, then it's an issue for them. I think that's fine. I think we just let it happen. Although then the Stoneforge is just a blocker. So I think we have to be pretty aggressive here and use the Sting Scourger's ability on the Stoneforge Mystic just to see if it'll get him to put this Batterskull into play with Trashmaster still around, or next turn just to get in some damage. So this is all going to resolve. They have the Brainstorm, so they could hit a white source, play the Stoneforge, and then really have some pretty good blocks. However, the Crater Maker also deals with Stoneforge. This is tough. They found an island, so they have access to Snapcaster. I think this is good enough because the ports are pretty much answers to the Batterskull now. They need to maybe throw a Ambush Viper Snapcaster Mage down. And they're just going to concede. Interesting. So they have 8 minutes. There's no real changes that I'd like to make. I was pretty happy with that. Yeah, let's just run it back. Oof. So very cool to get up to the 196 followers, I believe. So another 4, and we get to give away a Judge Foil bribery, which is very cool. I will send it anywhere in the world. I will post it at my expense just to get it to you. But it's, yeah, very cool. Near mint. So if you, of course, do like my content, hit that follow button, and you may be the owner of a Judge Foil bribery in short term. But before then, let's play this match already. Soon. Soon. This hand is fine. This hand's fine. I like this hand. Turn 1 Vial, an early Tundra is pretty susceptible to a Wasteland, which is nice. If they lead in the Wasteland, I will probably hit them with that before playing the Vial, but I'm pretty happy to run this Vial into something like Spell Pierce if they have it. That second Rishon Import's pretty awesome as well. So let's play this Vial and see how it goes. Jacob, thank you very much for the Facebook mention. Very cool. Boyd, thank you very much for the subscription. That's very cool. Very cool. Polluted Delta, interesting. So most likely a Brainstorm here into the fetch lane, which is fair enough. Might show that they have a pretty weak hand, which is great for us. But we will see how that goes. Yes, Brisbane is very cool when it comes to support. And of course those out of Brisbane right now. Fernie123, thank you very much for the follow. Let me know where you're from, what you play. Alright. Another mountain, not the best. So happy here to play the port and then tap down their island in their upkeep. They're going to fetch. So if they fetch a white source, then I'm pretty happy to tap that down too. Of course, if it's a white source, it's got to be a Tundra. It's not. Okay. Interesting. So let's go ahead with tapping down an island in the upkeep here and see how it goes. Cambridge, of course. Sorry. My mistake. My mistake. So I definitely feel ahead here, which is pretty great. So happy just to keep ticking up this Vial and playing some lands that are going to disrupt my opponent. Another Matron's pretty good. I could aggressively use this Wasteland on this fetch land at some stage, but I'm going to keep it away for now and just play another Mountain and pass turn. Boyd, I don't know what that means, but thank you for your support. It means a lot. So still nothing from my opponent. No Stoneforge. Jace not too close because of these Rishon Imports, which is nice. So again, just happy to put this Vial up to 3 and now have access to Matron at instant speed, which is nice. So let's just go ahead with the second port and try to get them out. Try to smoke them out. I could really have been activating this Vial a lot sooner, just to try to smoke out something like Containment Priest. So what I mean by that is, even though I have no 2-drops, I could have definitely activated the Aether Vial at the end of their turn, just to see if they would put in a Containment Priest in response. I think I'm happy here just to get Ringleader and then tick this Aether Vial up to 4. They're obviously having a pretty good think about this Matron and what I might be getting. Having the second Matron's pretty awesome. And drawing so many lands, it means that my Ringleaders are just going to do so much better anyway. Especially when it comes to the ratio of lands to creatures left in the deck and the hits that I have available. It's going to resolve, which is great. So we're going to go get, most likely, just another ringleader. And we will tick this up. Creator Maker is pretty nice. So here we'll see... I'm going to sandbag this Wasteland until we actually see if they have anything. So this could be Containment Priest now. Which is weird. That is more than fine. So we might even try to get this Creator Maker down now. Oh, okay. Which is nice. We can then take care of this. Containment Priest now and just get in for 1, which is pretty good. Leading with Creator Maker does play around that, but it also allows them to hold up something like Counterspell. I mean, me losing a turn with the Ringleader isn't much, but at least it taps them out a bit so that they don't have counter magic open or accessible for the Creator Maker. Ah, I didn't tap down my dude. I'm going to tap down this fetch land in response to Jace. Which now I can Wasteland, which is great, and they don't have the shuffle effect off their Brainstorm. Pretty rough. I definitely should have tapped them down in their upkeep, but I think even being able to turn on a Wasteland is actually a little bit better, so a punt definitely turning into maybe a better play, which is nice. EE for 1 is fine, because it taps them out, which means that I can Ringleader and kill the Jace. Or Red Elemental Blasted. That's interesting. I think I might sandbag this Red Elemental Blast and go after them. So we'll definitely hit their Pluto Delta while it's tapped. We'll definitely put in a Ringleader. Pile Driver and Matron's pretty good. So let's play another mountain to keep up the Red Elemental Blast. We can go to combat. We can attack the Jace for 3. And then I'm pretty happy. So now we can actually keep them off their white source. If they add mana to their pool, we can just keep this port for their draw step to see if they actually use this mana for EE to kill the Aether Vial. Which it looks like they didn't, so let's just use this again. EE for 1 is fine. Looks like they don't have much else, which is great for us. Another Ringleader, wow. So this hand really showing how good it is right now. I really like the port plan right now, so I'm actually keen just to attack first. There's a snap, which is a little bit annoying. I'm actually pretty keen to Red Elemental Blast it, just to keep my clock going. Still keeping off white, which is nice. Not floating, so we can use it again, of course, which is cool. Yeah, I definitely like having so many cards in hand, and just enough of a clock that's annoying for my opponent. So here we can actually just play out the pile driver, and then next turn maybe even go ringleader, ringleader. Swords on pile driver is fine. I'll probably respond to it just with a tap down of an island. There's a Flooded Strand, so here is access to another white source, and this could be Supreme Verdict. Or just Teferi. Batterskull, okay, that's fine. So let's... Matron. Probably go for trash. Play trash. Sack the Goblin. And then get in 10? I could have used one less. Interesting. I think that's just going to be game. I'm going to... play out a ringleader. Force is fine. We'll then just go to combat. Because of the life total and what we have on board, I'm pretty happy just playing Vile instead of Lackey. And then just tapping them off a white source in their upkeep. Just taking them off white source and trying to cripple them a bit. Which has been working pretty well, which is good. Hopefully this is it. Here's a Ponder. Hands are sweaty. I know what Eminem talks about when he raps. Ugh. And Mum's Spaghetti is pretty good as well. So, you know, he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. Is that better? Maybe. We'll see. Interesting. What could they have? Another Lackey. 2 cards. I think I want to just go all out. Probably get an Incinerator because the only way I lose is Snapcaster Mage. I could also get War Chief, play Lackey, and swing. I think that could just be the winner as well. There we go. So we get it, which is nice. So a win to start. The wins. So pretty happy with that. I think Miracles is a pretty good matchup, so Blue-White Stoneblade isn't that far off. Batterskull can be an issue, and an early Stoneforge can be an issue for a lackey hand. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Always nice to get a win against decks that you should probably win against. But yeah, definitely fought for it. I mean, EE and Containment Priest out of the board definitely aren't cards that are easy to deal with. Luckily, Crater Maker is, of course, an answer to both, which is very cool. That card's pretty insane, and arguably the best Goblin printed in a fair while. Up there with Rabble Master, I think. Up there with Rabble Master. But we are on the scoreboard, which is always really cool. Great feeling. Great feeling all around. I actually found a song the other day called Jace the Mind Sculptor, and it's actually a pretty good song. Yes, we will play, and yes, we will have Aether Vial. Yeah, we will. We'll keep this. This hand looks pretty fun. Mulling down. Ooh, this could be Dredge or just some pretty bad hands. I guess we'll see. Not the one drop that I really wanted, but it's the one drop that I probably deserve. So Aether Vial to start things off is always a great way to start with any Aether Vial hand. Yeah, Chainwheel is pretty good as well. I will not deny you that. Badlands. Ooh, okay, this could be Reanimator, which is pretty rough. However, Inquisition does in a way turn off Unmask, but of course we never know how that's going to play out. JY, what is the easiest way to get into MTGO? Mana Traders is very cool. So Mana Traders allows you to pay, I believe, a monthly fee and lets you borrow a certain amount of ticks. And with that, you get to borrow cards up to that amount of ticks. I know Boyd is pretty onto it with Mana Traders, so he'll be a great source and user to find out some more info with. That Richmond Port was huge because it gives me a way to actually interact with them early on. So pretty happy here to tap down their Badlands and keep them off a bit of mana at least. Inset Prospector as well is nice. Underground Sea, interesting. So maybe this is actually just some sort of Grixis control deck. Yeah, Wolf as well, of course, can give you some insights into Mana Traders, because I have heard pretty awesome things from them. Another Port's pretty insane. Pretty happy to play the Mountain here, and just attack in for one. Putting in the Pile Driver off Aether Vial next turn, and then just using double Port to try to keep them down a bit. Really happy with that Fatal Push on the Skirk Prospector, because it's probably the worst Goblin in the deck. I think I'm more happy to tap down blue here. I could definitely play Port as well to play around him. That's a very good insight. So here let's play this Goblin Pile Driver, which does not play well around Diabolic Edict, sadly, which is a pretty good card in the deck. But here, happy to go up to 3. If I draw a really good 2-drop, I can of course play it and also play Port. So happy to play the Port here. Attack in. There's a Bolt, so a lot of removal in the early game. And hopefully not a Gomag to follow it up. But at least Gomag is an instant speed, which is always nice to see. Adding a red, interesting. This could be K command, which would be pretty rough as well. That's pretty good. Discard this mountain. Kind of want the siege gang to work out for me. No fourth land for my opponent. A matron's interesting, but probably not the greatest. I could matron for Lackey. I could also keep them off black for Gurmagengler. I think I'm more happy to keep them off black. Although that's not really a winning line because there's a lot of fetches and black sources in their deck they could just draw into and Gurmag away straight away. So I think I'm actually happy just to play out the matron and go and get Lackey and try to start this hand again. I could also just get Ringleader and start filling my hand again. Maybe Ringleader is just better. I think Ringleader is just better. We'll go with Ringleader because it fills the hand. I do like that, especially against Grixis. Just being able to get more cards in hand and on the battlefield than removal that they have is always pretty nice. Hymn to Turak's pretty insane though. I'll give them that. And there's a mountain just to shy away our pretty poor hand. So let's just keep that in hand for now. I'm happy with just double tapping them down. Probably off Underground Sea. Adding a black in their upkeep. Draw step, I'll tap down the other Underground Sea. Could also take them off red if I really wanted to. Gem Palm Incinerator isn't that great, so we're just going to pass turn and keep these lands in check. But without Vial, it's a lot different. Let's tap down the Badlands. And probably tap down an Underground Sea, just to keep them off something like Liliana Last Hope. That would be pretty annoying. Not really sure how many they play in the deck, if any at all. Of course, with 4 mana available, Ringleaders off the top would be pretty nice. Just a Crater Maker, so not the greatest, but at least it's something to start. Grixis seems like a pretty rough matchup. Just the removal ratio and range of sweet against a creature deck is pretty yuck. Click is going to enter the play, and if they target me, I'm going to use this Gem Palm Incinerator. What do we draw? Mountain. Probably 2 cards that they really don't care about right now. Happy to play this Cavern to get it out of discard range. And then just pass turn. We can also hold it up for Goblin Crater Maker as well, which is quite nice. Most likely another K command? Wow. So really just getting ripped apart against this deck. What did they do with Ponder? They did not shuffle. So we'll tap down this Polluted Delta. If they click themselves and put something like a Brainstorm into their hand, that's fine because I can still respond to the click. Respond to the spell. Tapping down black. Want to keep Gomag off the table if they do play it. Ringleader, of course, would be a pretty insane draw. Pile drive is not where we want to be, but benefit of the doubt, it's fine right now. We are winning that combat area, so that is fine. Of course they have removal. Then happy to tap down the Underground Sea. Baleful Strix is pretty good. Crater Maker's okay. Happy to keep this other port around just to try to tap them off this Polluted Delta if need be. So if they want some sort of shuffle effect off a Jace or a Brainstorm. Like that. Looking at the top card, putting it to the bottom. Okay, so live draw on top, which is nice. I think I'm happy to take this. I don't want to really use this Crater Maker yet. If I draw into something like Ringleader, then I'm more than happy to use this Crater Maker on this Baleful Strix. Wasteland's not the greatest. Let's concede here. Let's take some time. This looks like a pretty awful matchup. So let's look at what we can bring in that's actually going to do some good. Doesn't look like a lot. Red Elemental Blast seems pretty good. Jace, Baleful Strix if relevant. Vendilion Click, Snapcaster Mage if they play it. Crater Maker seems okay. The lackeys seem okay on the play. The Prospector can probably come out. Don't really care for it. The Pile Drivers seem great, especially against Baleful Strix and Trinium Nemesis if they play it. Chainwhirler as well against a lot of X1 decks. X1 creatures looks really good. The Incinerators can probably drop to 2. I think that's all the sideboarding I want to do. I could probably bring in a Relic if I really wanted to. But it only really hits things like Snapcaster Mage, K-Command, and Gomag. Which might even be enough, but I don't really think it's enough. I think I'm pretty happy with this and just to go ahead with this list. But yeah, Grixis, wow. A lot of removal. And just great cards all around. There's no real bad cards in the deck, which is pretty nuts. Sadly, all 4 ports going to make this a mulligan. This hand's not that much better, but we don't really have a choice. We'll put this mountain to the bottom. Already have a mountain, so happy just to play it and pass. Ponder's fine. Got a good wasteland target, which is nice. And it's better than something like a Inquisition taking the Red Elemental Blast. At least now, if we draw into something like Aether Vial, we have a turn 1 play and a wasteland, which is nice, kind of resetting the game. Another wasteland. Not the greatest, but we'll take advantage of this mana denial plan while we have a plan. These Gem Palm Incinerators being not much more than just a 3 mana 2/1. Another mountain's okay. We'll just play that and pass turn. There's no other great plays. Don't want to show the wasteland, and I am not really that keen on showing the cavern, although it does open it up to something like Hymn to Turak. Instep Brainstorm's interesting. They might just have enough to do this turn that they wanted to use that mana to brainstorm in my turn. Like a Hymn to Turak would be pretty good. Gem Palms are fine. Still pretty happy with this. Vial's pretty nice. We might as well go after the Underground Sea again. We could also go after Red Source. I kind of like going after the Underground Sea again, as we already hit one. We kind of care about the removal suite in red, however. So I'm actually probably going to go off the Badlands anyway. Both lands allow Gomag Angler, so we'll hit that, play a late Vial, and pass back. But this is pretty rough. Put that Vial trigger on the stack. We will tick it up. We'll play this cavern. We'll name Goblin. Could name Bird. Could really put him off, but not that keen. They also have 7 cards in hand, which is pretty nuts. Liliana Last Hope's pretty much game here, and it looks like it's going to be another Hymn. That's concession. That's pretty bad. Didn't really have much game there. The Hymns are really bad. And there's no real way to play around them, sadly. Unless you can just churn out your board early on. But then things like Toxic Deluge and Marsh Casualties come into effect. Just sometimes can't beat those hands. That's pretty much what it is. But yeah, hopefully move on. Hopefully get a win in this next one. Hopefully not against Grixis, because that wasn't much fun. And I'm sure from a viewer perspective as well, it isn't too much to gain from those sort of matchups. But happy to actually cancel this and do a giveaway. So many gifted subs. Jesus, Jacob, thank you very much. That is very cool. I think with that, we have to do a giveaway. So I do have one. Nurse Toki, thank you very much for the subscription. That's very cool. That is very awesome. So thank you very much, Jacob. Very cool to see. Haha. Christmas all around. So let's do a giveaway. So if you are wanting a Japanese Guilds of Ravnica booster, please type I want a booster in chat, and I will, of course, send this to you anywhere. We can open on stream. I can send it to you sealed. This is, of course, a Japanese pack. The last Japanese pack of Guilds of Ravnica that I have from Japan. But pretty cool. So if you do want a booster, of course, type I want a booster in chat. And we will call it out in about 30 seconds. Some pretty cool cards in here. We've opened some pretty good cards as well. I think we've opened a foil Dampening Sphere and the Angel, the 4-drop Angel with guilds with Dominaria last week, which is pretty cool. With the local guy James getting that, and then of course Jiturin already getting a pretty decent pack with a not so good rare actually, and then Chris doing pretty well as well, which is cool. So I don't believe Chris is around for this one, and this giveaway looks to be pretty small, so a pretty good chance to get in for a free booster. So if you do want this, please type I want a booster into chat, and we'll see how this rolls out in about 10 seconds. So you got 10 seconds to write I want a booster in chat, and then we'll call it. Pretty close. There we go. Well, that's the same guy. Come on, Jacob. Yeah, you want a booster. I know you want a booster. Alright. Let's see how we did. And we have the winner as Movmo, Callum. Very cool. So you are the winner of this Guilds of Ravnica booster. Would you like it to be sealed and delivered to you around the corner? Or would you like it opened on stream? Please say open on stream. It's so much cooler. Could be some cool stuff in here. There could be a foil Knight of Autumn. There could be an Assassin's Trophy. Alright, man. Let's open it up. So, congratulations, Callum, for the last booster. Of course, the Japanese boosters, we have the rare at the front behind the basic. So we have the token first. So, an Angel token. A Dimir Guildgate. I'm pretty sure that's a Narcomoeba. You got a Narcomoeba, so that goes in your dredge deck if you still have that. And then I'm pretty sure that these aren't going to be the greatest. Oh, you got that card. And this one. This one's pretty good. This one is pretty good. I really like this one. This is great in draft. This is also pretty good in sealed. I do like this one as my pick for Death and Taxes All-Star. And then we have this little guy that's pretty good. Really like the artwork on these actually. And the feel of the cards is actually really good as well. So yeah, Narcomoeba is a pretty tight pickup. An Eternal card, which is great. Probably shouldn't have been a rare. I mean, it's probably for draft consideration, I guess. But yeah, congratulations on the win. I sadly don't have another booster on me, I believe. Let's have a quick look. Oh. No. Yes? Yeah. Okay, we got one more. So we're going to do one more after this game. It'll be a sealed pack of Japanese Dominaria. So we'll get this match underway and then get that second giveaway underway. I feel like I'm in a cafe with this music. So yeah, Goblins so far, you know, a pretty rubbish loss against Grixis. Just dominating us with sheer card power, I guess. I will definitely set it up at some point so people can do song requests. If you actually have a song request, you can definitely type it in chat and I'll find it on Spotify and play it for you. On the losses, on the draw is always rough, but we'll see how that turns out. It sounds okay. We'll keep it. We have a Red Source and Cavernous Souls, which of course is a little bit Delver. Okay. Delver's fine. Mountain. Interesting. Pretty happy to Wasteland here. We have a few good answers for this Delver, which is nice. And it did flip. Spell Pierce, interesting. So, Aether Vial isn't the greatest. But it looks like they're going to miss their land drop, maybe. Ah, wow, okay. So let's play this Mountain and pass. They do have a lot of spells in hand, but missing that land drop is going to be pretty bad for them. Wow, it looks like maybe again. What do I want to do here? I think I want to keep this Crater Maker around to have the mana able to activate. So I'm pretty happy just to play a Port and pass and see what happens. Wow. There goes the Spell Pierce. So now we can really start getting stuff online. We can... play this Crater Maker and then deal with this right now, just in case they're playing Spell Pierce. Sorry, just in case they're playing Stifle. I wouldn't really want to get hit by that. So that turn 1 Wasteland being pretty effective, seeing they've missed 4 land drops. Which is pretty awesome for us, no doubt. So let's play a Cavern. Let's name Goblin. We'll play out this Lackey. And then we'll play Matron as well. Probably going to get Ringleader. I think Ringleader is the best right now. Especially as we can start really putting on, yeah, some pretty good pressure. So that was pretty awesome. Wasteland just really destroying their game plan. And then having actual answers to Delver is really nice as well. So I think I'm pretty happy for red Elemental Blasts to come in and maybe nothing else. We could probably even go down on Prospector. Sharpshooter seems pretty good, especially if they're on the Young Pyromancer plan. War Chief seems pretty good. Siege Gang seems a little bit too far stretched. And maybe just going down on 1 War Chief until I really see what their deck's about. I mean, for what we know, they could be on some sort of Delver Stiflenord deck. So keeping the deck pretty similar, but the red Elemental Blast, of course, doing some pretty good work in this matchup, no matter what, as we did see a Volk and a Delver. But I don't think my opponent will be keeping a 1-lander anymore. This hand's fine. This hand's pretty good. Pretty slow, but I really like it. Yeah, the White Splash is definitely something I've considered. And I'm sure there's lists going around right now for it. Even just for Karakas as well. I think Karakas is a pretty awesome card. Interesting. So I think I really want to play the Cavern into Lackey straight up. If they go to combat, I'd be more than happy to trade. I think they'll fetch here and try to bolt this Lackey. Another Delver's pretty good. So double Delver's very Wasteland's not going to do anything here. So let's play out this Mog Fanatic. Sorry, Mog War Marshal. And see how it goes. If they don't flip their Delvers, we do get 2 blockers, which is nice, but I think they probably will, depending on the amount of cards left in the deck. And wow, no flips. And no real good attacks either. There's a Ponder to set up these Delvers. So it's going to buy us a turn, which is nice. I think this Matron might have to try to go and get... Really not even sure what it can get for a flip Delver. Red Elemental Blast is of course a great draw if we get it. Niv Magus Elemental, interesting. Red Elemental Blast. Okay, so that's 1. So they got 2 cards in hand. So Niv Magus Elemental is exile an instant or sorcery spell you control. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on Niv Magus Elemental. Pretty good. I'm pretty happy to get rid of a Delver here. And then hopefully play this Vial. Nice, okay. Matron can get Tarfire, but I don't play Tarfire. Which is definitely something that's missing from the deck, and I definitely can play Tarfire. I've just opted for more Chain Boilers and Sharpshooters instead. But it's definitely a card that I should probably play, maybe even next week, and try it out again. Port doesn't do too much here, so I'm pretty happy to go and get... most likely go and get Goblin Ringleader. Because there's nothing that really deals with the True Name and Co. So let's just go with, yeah, Ringleader and buy some time. No great attacks, but a pile driver off the top would be really nice, especially with this Vial. Interesting not attacking with the Niv Magus Elemental. Definitely take this up to 2. So here we go with Ringleader. Need some big hits. What do we get? Okay. These aren't too bad. We'll definitely take them. And then I'm pretty happy to attack him with this Ringleader and see what happens. Nothing I can do here if they have the other bolt, or something like a Fork Bolt as well. And there it is. So back to the drawing board. Trashmaster can probably come out, and something like Sting Scourger doesn't seem the worst. Pyrokinesis can get us out of some troubles. I still really like Chain Whirler. Creator Maker can probably stay at 3. If anything, maybe a Pyrokinesis. Or just the Stink Scourger. Just as in case. We'll go with this. Alright. May the Goblin Gods be with me. Would be great. Would be great to get a win and go 2-2 into the final round. This is a rough one, but I think you got to keep it. I think you just got to keep it. It's a Cavern on the play with Lackey. Oh, so I could draw into a red source to gem palm this Delver, but I don't get there. So let's attack first. Looks like we'll trade. Perhaps a little bit too greedy, but we'll see how it ends up. Niv-Magus Elemental, of course, a pretty good blocker as a 2-1, as a 1-2. Don't be a wasteland. Don't be a wasteland. Please don't ponder into a wasteland. Okay, Delver's not too bad. Still gives us an out. So close. Ponder. Don't ponder into a wasteland. Don't do it. Do not do it. There it is. Okay. Is this just game 1 but reverse? Maybe. Maybe a little bit too guilty. Maybe a little bit too greedy. We've got to play it out. Name Goblin. Flusterstorm. I don't know why you'd keep in Flusterstorm. Obviously not enough cards to take out, I guess. It does combo with Niv-Magus Elemental. I did not think of that. That's very legit, yeah. And to flip Delver, of course. We're going to discard probably the Sharpshooter. A little bit too late. Interesting. Ugh. I guess the second War Chief. Young Pyro is pretty good. A little bit too late, most likely. Probably a Sting Scourge is best right now, just as a blocker and to get rid of this Delver in the air. I really wanted to keep up this mountain to deal with True Name with Red Elemental Blast, but I don't think it's actually going to worry about it. And that is just game, sadly. So the one lander not pulling it off. We will do this giveaway, of course, which is pretty sad to see. Drawing into a land to Gem Palm would have been amazing, either one of those lackeys, but that's just Magic sometimes. So let's do another giveaway. So if you type Booster Me into the chat, I will put this Dominaria Japanese booster up for grabs. If you're not from Australia, or if you're from around Australia, I'll of course ship it anywhere in the world, no matter where you are. I'd love to open it on stream, but of course if you want it shipped sealed, that's more than fine as well. It is the very last booster that I have here. I don't have anything else. So I'll keep it open so it's not just Jacob in chat, and see how it goes. Surely someone there wants a booster. A lot of good pulls as well. You've got Teferi. You also have Jace. You don't have Jace. That's me. You know what? Giveaway finished. And the winner is Jacob. Very nice. So would you like it sealed or would you like it opened? You could have entered again, Callum, but you missed out. So I'm gonna open this up and see how we go. Jitesh, you can't boo him if he didn't even enter. Let's be real, okay? What do we got? Alright, there we go. Great smell. Great smell. Alright, so token, of course. First up, Forest. Very cool. No foil, but it looks like a Siege Gang Commander, so pretty on point. Playing Goblins, Siege Gang Commander, it's pretty good. K-Donkers, sadly, just a little bit too late. Looking at the Japanese, no great uncommons. Very cool to see the Siege Gang Commander get hit. And there we go. So I'd love to know the names of the standard cards. I just don't play that much standard, sadly. But yeah, Siege Gang, pretty hilarious to get because, of course, we are in Goblins tonight. Not doing the best. We are currently 1-3, but playing that last match just for a little bit of self-gain, self-worth. So hopefully get there. Couple of pretty sketchy keeps, I assume. The one lander double lackey is always really enticing, but you just really need a bit more to back it up, especially when your opponent's on a pretty low to the ground deck, like Blue Red Delver. But yeah, thank you as well for those who have followed throughout this stream. Very close to the 200 needed for the giveaway of the foil bribery. But of course, if it doesn't happen this stream, there's always next stream, which is great. So, of course, if you are liking this content, please definitely think about hitting that follow button. And this bribery of mine might be coming to you pretty soon. So heading into the last round, hopefully play against something we haven't played against yet. Something like Elves would be sweet from a dual deck perspective. I know a lot of players locally that have said that their first starter deck was actually Elves versus Goblins, which is very on theme for Magic and their tribal tribal elements of the game, which is cool. Or even Reanimator or Storm. I just want to play these. I just want to play these Mindbreak traps because I know as soon as I take them out, I will play against Storm or Fast Combo. But yeah, Goblins a hell of a lot of fun to play. I can definitely see how putting time into the deck can really put you ahead of players like me who are just sort of trying it out. Especially when it comes to things like Matron and Warchief mats and what you can get. I know there's a few lines that I didn't see with Lethal when Warchief into Goblin. It's going to kill me. The Pro Blue one can just be lethal. Getting the die roll is great. A one-lander Vial will keep it. Very risky. We do have the Scourge Prospector if we really want it. But you got to risk it for the biscuit. And I think if anyone's going to risk it, it's probably a Goblin. So straight through with the F6. So that's no Force Wheel for me, which is great. Grove of the Bone Warriors isn't a great Pithing Needle. Okay. That's pretty good. They could also be naming the port if they don't care about the Aether Vial. We'll see what they name. Naming the Richmond port would be great. They name Wasteland. Okay, so not going for either. So obviously on some sort of Dark Depths deck. Would love to draw into a land here just to use Richardon Port. We draw a Goblin Pile Driver, which isn't where we want to be. But it is fine for now. Pretty rough though. Double Grove starts pretty small. Grim Monolith, interesting. So not too sure what this is. We'll put in Lackey. Another Warchief isn't that great. I kind of want to put in Warchief just because Ringleader is not going to net us too much. We really want to see lands as well. So we're going to put in the Warchief and pass back. Glimmer Post is pretty good. So nearly access to Ugin. 3, 4, 5, 6. Ha! Okay. Interesting. So this looks like a red-green Cloud Post deck. For Suva, copying Glimmer Post is pretty good, getting 2 life. We will use this now to put in the Pile Driver. Put this up to 3. Oh, Chainwheel is pretty good. Chainwheel lets us get in, which is nice. So we might as well do that. I think I just actually want to put in the Scourge Prospector. Just to have the ability to use the red mana if we really need it. But I'm really seeing something like Ugin or All is dust coming at us pretty fast. It's a lot of mana. There's Ugin. Okay, so we can still ringleader, which is nice. So we will go up to 4. Hey, Cratermaker deals with Ugin, which is nice. So we'll go to combat and we'll attack Ugin. Could have really dealt damage to them. Dealing damage to Ugin doesn't do too much other than buy us time for Cratermaker. Maze is pretty good as well. We will always say no to this now. There's a land that helps. So Cratermaker definitely changes this. I do play lands. But sadly I'm also playing Goblins. So it doesn't always work out the way I want it. Untapping Grimm's pretty good there. No real downside for them. Eldrazi Post actually a deck that I've started doing, so I've really started understanding the power of Grim Monolith. Map, of course, able to go and get Eye of Ugin, which is pretty baller. A land would be sweet. A land is there, which is awesome. So we're going to play Cratermaker. And then it's past turn. See what they do with map. Cratermaker is also a oh no! Alright, at least we know how to sideboard, and we really have nothing. I mean, we can bring in these two. We can take out the Gem Palm. That was rough. That was rough. I don't think Surgical's worth it. Pyrokinesis does nothing. Red Elemental Blast does nothing. Gem Palm does nothing. Let's just go with this. Let's just go with this. And we will forget about that moment. They had it anyway. They definitely had it anyway. It was just rough. Another one-lander. I guess we're going to keep it, for sure. I'm going to start off with Lackey, actually. Most likely naming Wasteland again with this Pithing Needle. Unless they brought in something like Crucible of Worlds. Maybe they'll name Goblin Crater Maker with this Pithing Needle. Still named Wasteland, okay. Fair enough. That is more than fine. And of course you draw the Wasteland. Oh, but what I can do is... Here's a sweet play. Let's attack with all creatures. Put in a creature. I can put in Crater Maker. And then use Wasteland to take out the Pithing Needle. Sorry, use the... I'm gonna put in the Crater Maker. Damage happens. We'll then destroy this. We'll play the Wasteland. And then we'll hit the Glimmer Post. So lucky doing some damage there. Put in the War Chief, because next turn then we can cast both Pile Driver and put in Skirk. Maybe even both Pile Drivers if we draw a land that is red. Oh, another Lackey. Interesting. That's rough. So probably should have cast the Pile Driver in response, but that is fine. Grove of the Burnwallows here would be pretty good. Ugh, yuck, and they have it. Did not think about Surgical in this matchup. Or any sort of graveyard hate. We will still battle it out. Some pretty bad goblins to put in, but that is just sometimes how the cookie crumbles, sadly. Punishing Fire. I should have known. I saw the Grove in game 1. We've seen enough. I'm sorry, guys. That is enough. That is Goblins with a really disappointing 2-3. So here's the deck list. Had some pretty sweet interactions, but just didn't get there. I'm still not liking the mana base. I think there's probably room for another mountain. Going up to 23 and cutting something like 1 Crater Maker, so we have still 2 in the deck, or 6 with the Matrons. The Mindbreak traps are pretty dead. I do actually like Goblin, the one that destroys lands. I believe I have it. Goblin Settler. Yes. So we're gonna start playing that. We're gonna take out the Mindbreak trap. I don't believe we have Tarfire. Surely Tarfire is 1 word. Could definitely try out some other decks and some other Goblins. Even Goblin Chieftain isn't too bad. But we have been missing double red so much these past few games that I think the mana base definitely needs a second look at, which definitely isn't that fun. Especially when you do have some pretty sweet hands that just need a second or third land and one of them to be a red to really go off. But that's just that's not how it is all the time. Jacob, if you have a Goblins list, I would love to see that Goblins list. Yeah, no, that sounds really cool. Very awesome. So sadly, that's pretty much it. Not the end to the year that I wanted, but probably the end of the year that I deserved with some of those misplays. But thank you very much to those guys that followed, that streamed, that subscribed throughout the year, and especially tonight. Didn't hit our target, but that is something for 2019 to bring in, and hopefully bring in early for you guys, because it would be very cool to give this away and get started on the 225 giveaway. But yeah, cheers to everyone. Massive shout out to Jacob, of course, for all those follows. I hope you guys enjoyed this league. Goblins sadly not getting there, but I'd probably put it up to the player and not the deck. But that is life. So thank you very much. A late Merry Christmas to everyone. A Happy New Year early from me. And yeah, hopefully see you guys around. Thank you very much.